There are so many interesting, horrifying, or downright weird things in this big world of ours.
Each week, we'll bring you a new true crime story that has little to no coverage in English.
Let us do the translations, so you don't have to.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
We are back after a break.
Yes.
Not
About
a
a
very
month.
long one.
Yeah.
It was a pretty long one. Probably, I guess, it will be about 2 months maybe. when the
2
episode
months.
comes
Yeah,
out.
it'll be over 2 months. Yeah.
Sorry, we were busy doing other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we're back now. And I think before we start, because today it's my turn to bring a case and tell you about horrible things like we usually do here. But I think we should do pickle updates first, because I'm sure everyone is missing our pickle updates.
Yes.
There's-
we have. Yeah. Yeah. Go. You go. You go. You go.
There's at least one new pickle flavored product that we have tried
Yes.
that I can remember, but there might be other things.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Like, what did we update on? We already updated on the popsicle, right? And the energy drink, right?
Mhm.
Yes. Those two things. And then the other thing was, like, I saw in the K market at one point, there was 3 different flavors of pickle chips, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not the kind of potato slice type
Mhm.
chips.
It's like Cheeto kind of like puffs or whatever,
Yes.
like a really puffy. Yeah. Yeah.
Do you remember the pictures of this, Petra, in the group we sent?
Yeah,
you?
but I had did you taste it already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
I haven't tasted it.
Yeah. I just tasted the pickle, just the regular dill pickle flavor.
And
There's
it's
like
with
a garlic.
Yeah.
And then there's another garlic flavored specifically though. There's like 3 different
Oh.
flavors.
Oh, wait, actually, I
Garlic
have that.
Joe, Big Papa, and Hot Mama.
Yeah.
Wait, this
yeah.
reminds me that I think I have tasted all 3 flavors now.
Oh, damn! They only had this flavor in the store, so I didn't get to taste the garlic Joe or the hot mama, but Big Papa.
So the garlic one, it was really good. I think it was even better than the standard dill pickle
Yeah.
one
yeah,
with the extra garlic flavor. So I would recommend that one. The hot mama one with chili, it's very hot. It's very, very spicy.
so
So-
Petra would be into that maybe.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's like you can't eat too much all at once, which is
But that's
maybe a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anybody wants to find this is Van Holten's pickle puffed snacks is the brand and whatever title of the on the bag.
And this is not a sponsored ad.
No.
Too bad.
But again, we are open.
You're open for opportunities. Yeah.
Of getting free chips.
That's always good. Love chips, unfortunately. But this one is like a little bit healthier chips. I think it's made out of lentils
say?
or something.
It even says it's a good source of protein on the package.
And
so,
fiber.
haha.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's true.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. I'm just like, I'm going to buy these chips for my snacks. I'm not looking into the
Nutrition of it?
nutrition values. Like,
Yeah.
don't try to sell it like that.
But I get it sometimes because I'm always like, I guess I shouldn't eat chips, but I really like it. And like, it feels like at least a tiny bit healthier alternative.
Like
Probably
lentil
not by
chips.
much.
You know, like
it's a
lentil
scam.
chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a bit better.
Yeah. Maybe they're trying to target all the gym bros. There's protein in this.
I mean, overall, not that much protein, I guess, or you would need to eat a lot of it to get a decent amount.
Yeah.
Any other pickle products?
I went to Tallinn the other day and I went to a cocktail bar and I had this like, or maybe actually it was like pickle and herring cocktail.
Oh,
It was
God.
so crazy. And there was
Oh,
even
God.
like a little dried herring. I know you
Oh,
don't eat herring, like it's
Yeah,
fish,
yeah.
but there was on the, but it was really good. Like it was mostly this pickle taste.
Is it like a martini? Because I can imagine like pickle brine in a martini, I think is good.
That sounds
Right?
pretty good.
I have to check what was the alcohol in it. Like,
Because I could imagine like gin being good in it, or yeah, or what was the what was the Sauvignon Blanc with pickle juice or something, that Instagram post I sent you guys?
I think we've been looking at different reels with,
or was it Chardonnay
pickle
or
drinks.
something with pickle juice? Apparently that's a thing. We still need to try that, but
The amount of pickle content that I get on social media.
it's insane.
the algorithm is doing its job.
Just like the fucking people who filled their hot tub with pickles, and then there was
Yes.
another one that filled a pool with pickles. And I'm like,
that's a bit
how many?
disgusting.
Because they were like all, what was it, damaged pickles or something, or like reject pickles. So they're like, well, no one's going to eat these anyway, so just put them in our pool and swim in pickles.
That's a dream.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I'm still stuck with checking what was the alcohol base, but that's not really the important stuff.
Yeah.
We can continue. It was just a very beautiful experience.
Well, if you took a picture of it or something, maybe we can post it on Instagram.
Yeah, we can. I can send it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'll post it to Instagram. I'm sorry for the fellow vegans who will see a dried herring.
Yeah, exactly.
I think all the vegans know that it's a mostly non-vegan world, so
yes. Suffering all around. Suffering abounds.
Speaking of suffering, that
was a good segue.
Oh,
to our story today, which I can maybe start getting into. And it's again, probably unsurprisingly, another story from Hungary that I brought to you today, but it's a little bit more recent than the ones that I typically bring. I don't know if I've ever had such a recent one. This happened in 2013.
Oh, yeah. I think only in the news tangents, of course, because those are most recent that you've covered stuff. But
yeah.
But
I feel like mostly the other ones were maybe newer ones were from the 90s. There might have been something from the 2000s. I have done some cognitive tests recently and realized that my episodic memory is not the same as it was before. So, I might be forgetting.
What about the fraudster, this Maria, whatever person? Wasn't she caught in 2000s?
Yes, you're right.
Like from Belize.
Yes. Broker Marchi. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I think she was. That's okay. That might even be a little bit more recent than this one. And the other one, the poisoner woman from Ipolyság. Remember the
nurse?
One who? No, not the nurse. But the nurse was also like more recent. Okay, so probably, maybe not the most recent one, or like not the most. Yeah. But anyway, one of those. I think most of the cases that I brought before were from like an earlier time. But this happened on the evening of September 25th, 2013, when 36-year-old Krisztina Kardosné Gyurik left her home in Soroksár. Soroksár is a southern district of Budapest. And so she was like leaving for her usual evening jog. But then she never returned home from that jog. So,
oh no.
Yeah, one of those.
Does she take the same route every day and or every single run? Okay.
Yeah, one of those jogger stories. Just wanted to comment on the name. I know we talked about Hungarian names before. So obviously her first name is Krisztina, but then Kardosné Gyurik. So Gyurik would be her maiden name. So Krisztina Gyurik, and Kardosné, Kardos is her husband's name, and the né suffix means wife of. So I think we have covered this before, but
still very sexist though. But yeah, okay.
I know, but it's worse. It used to be even worse. It was very common before. Probably mentioned this also that somebody's name just became, like, let's say her husband's name is Lajos, so her name could have been Kardos Lajosné, and that's her entire name without anything else. So it's
fucked.
just like a wife of Lajos Kardos. That's the entire
That's
name.
fucked.
And
That's so
that
fucked.
just sounds like you would have this conversation like, the wife of John comes. Okay, what's her name? Wife of John. Yeah.
Wife
But
of John.
what's her name?
Of John.
Of
like
John.
Handmaid's
Oh no,
Tale.
it's like Handmaid's Tale. Yeah. Shit. Oh god.
Pretty much. It's not as popular anymore to use that.
I
form
wonder
of
why.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So she left for her run, and then she didn't return home. And after that, basically what followed is one of the most famous, or like, a very well-known, for a long time unsolved murder case in Hungary. And this is usually discussed as the Soroksár Jogger murder, except that in the Hungarian title, they usually use the form that indicates that it's a female jogger, so it's a woman jogger murder, but basically the
Is there a
Soroksár
male
murder.
jogger murder out there?
No, that
too?
would just be, obviously, that would just be jogger.
Oh god.
But then if it's a woman, then it
fucking
would indicate.
But would a male jogger get murdered?
Maybe
Chances
we
are
find a
probably
case.
lower.
We can find a case about that.
Yeah,
I'm sure that
there
has
is a
happened
case.
before.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mentioned that she was 36 years old at the time, married to a guy named Lajos, and they also have a son named Roland. They used to live in Soroksár. And a little bit about Kristina's background. So she moved out of her parents' home at the age of 19. Her parents said that they had a good relationship with her even after that, but they didn't see each other too often because apparently the parents didn't like or never fully accepted the husband. We don't know that much additional context about why, but they just didn't like the guy, apparently. Her colleagues
For good
described
reason,
well,
maybe? Okay.
maybe, yeah. We'll find
Okay.
out some more details,
Okay.
but they didn't like him.
Because there's the old trope, the husband always did it. So I'm
Yeah.
just saying. Okay.
Yeah. That's, that always comes up, and probably also for good reason in general. Maybe not in this case. We'll find out. So her colleagues described her as an open, cheerful, kind person. One coworker said that she could be quite blunt or hurtful in her manner at work, but she always apologized when needed. I don't know if this is something that would be brought up if it was about a man, or it's important because it's a woman.
She was a bitch, basically, is what you're trying. Okay, all right.
Well, sounds like that, but they.
Probably the
it
man
sounds like
just
they
wouldn't
meant that.
apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Or
overall,
does
they
she-
said positive things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
This could be said in a positive light, like she was very straight with her words, frank.
Yeah.
Her parents said that she was, so kind of description was that she was like a strong woman, also physically strong, decisive, fearless. She was someone who, in the past used to walk home from parties at night, and she wasn't worried about it. So yeah, kind of a confident person. She had taken up running as a hobby or as a habit after the birth of her son, and she was like going on jogs quite regularly, like 2-3 times per week. They say always on the same route around the place where they lived. And on the 25th of September, so the night when she left and then never returned, a coworker was saying that on the same day, she hadn't been in a very good mood at work. She felt a little bit sick or feverish, but she didn't go home early. She stayed until 4:30. So that was kind of what we know about her day from before the evening. Her parents also said that they had repeatedly asked her not to run after dark, or at least if she goes out for a run, she should kind of stick to this main street that was well lit in this district where they lived. But apparently she preferred this bike path that was unlit at the time. And she was saying that she loves like going out on runs instead of using the treadmill because, it's like very nice outside in the evening. She can hear the owls hooting and kind of nature. It's like calming for her. And her father said that he once gave her a pepper spray to carry, and she just laughed it off and said like, who would even attack me or something like that. So I mean, pretty sad details to know afterwards.
But this also sounds that she's not the first case. Like that this parents,
I think it's just there's just this like
somewhat often, or
I mean, it has happened before. I don't know the statistics. It's I wouldn't think of like I can't recall a bunch of cases where runners were.
So it's more like there's a couple of cases. There's lots of media space, and then you're a parent of a daughter, so you're worried.
I think.
I mean, my mom says that kind of things too. But
yeah, because I'm just asking, like, also about the safety. Like, you personally, would you walk in or go out at night in certain parts of Hungary? Like, would you feel safe pretty much in all places in Hungary?
Well, not necessarily. Like, okay. I think I would feel less safe than I generally feel in Finland. Yeah, even in Finland, there are cases that are concerning or like tragic.
Yeah, because I mean, like in Finland, I feel like I can walk pretty much anywhere. I don't feel unsafe,
Yeah, I've never thought Finland. Like, it's dark. I cannot walk there.
Yeah, exactly. Even through a park, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to walk through this fucking Kaisaniemi park, like in the middle of Helsinki. It's kind of like...
which is maybe the worst place, yeah.
Yeah. And like I used to go running. I used to live in Arabia, and I'd usually run around the river, like go up and, I don't know, like I do 10K at night. And that's the best time to run because there'd be nobody out. It's nice and cool in the summertime. And it's like, it's very peaceful and you can hear the water or animals or whatever. And it's like, I never felt unsafe. And it was quite remote place,
I mean, of course, anything can happen in even remote places or like generally safe places. But I would say like subjectively, and I kind of feel like we could back this up with actual statistics too, but at least I could say subjectively, I would feel a little bit less safe in Hungary being alone as a woman at night. And this was in Budapest, even though this is like a kind of a suburban district of Budapest. So like a little bit more naturey, more like kind of, detached houses, gardens, like there's this like green area around the river that goes through this district. So like it's pretty popular for runners and cyclists and like kind of a naturey place. So maybe, like compared to the inner districts that are a little bit more restless and there are all sorts of people on the street during the night, this should be safer, I would assume.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But
this said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then another thing, just as context that came up later, is that some witnesses who then eventually were at the trial were mentioning that Krisztina and her husband, their marriage was not without strain, not necessarily the best. I think they had considered divorce previously, and there were suggestions that they both may have had another life outside the relationship. So it wasn't like the best marriage ever. We also don't know a lot more details about this, but obviously they look into the relationships as well when something like this happens.
Yeah.
Okay, so on the 25th of September in the evening, she left home for this like regular late runs. There are some sources that mention that it was a little bit later than she would usually go. She even wrote a note for herself in her diary, like a reminder that she should go for a run that evening. Later, her husband said that he had kind of a bad feeling about going out for this late run, maybe because it was later than usual. And he asked her to run on the treadmill, but she said that would be boring and then left anyway. And normally she ran for about 45 minutes. But then that night, about an hour and a half later, she still didn't return home. So then the husband started to be a little bit worried that something might have happened to her. So when their son also came home from his own training, I think that was, we don't know what kind of training, but he was away. When he returned
Okay, so
home,
he was
then,
already that age that he goes somewhere alone.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember how old exactly, but not a very, very young kid, but
Yeah.
school age. So then the husband got into his car and began driving around in the neighborhood looking for her. He says that he encountered a bearded man riding a bicycle during this time and asked him if he had seen his wife, and he said no. So he was just like, so after that he was looking, he couldn't find her, so he called the police and they began searching for her pretty much immediately. A close friend of the family recalled then that Lajos, the husband, called him and said something like, Krista had disappeared. I think she's been killed because her phone is off too, which kind of sounds like an odd thing to say as a first guess.
Yeah. I would.
Yeah, but
I
then
mean,
again, sounds also something you could say in a panic.
yeah, but I mean, I think in a panic, I'd be like, I think something happened to her, like not killed. I think like that's the first thing to say.
Because
Like it's
people
more
want
vague,
to avoid.
yeah,
like,
thinking
when
that they're
you-
dead.
Yeah, the
You don't
worst
want to
is-
think about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a little bit unusual, maybe, how he phrased it. So the friend said that the husband's voice was very like shaky and tragic, like he was obviously very upset, but that he spoke about the possibility of murder almost like kind of as a known fact or something. And he didn't think that she would have, run off with another man or something like that. But anyway, this friend also then joined the search. So they kind of continued searching for her. And by the time this friend arrived, the police was already searching the area, and they had tracking dogs as well. So this is like a very wooded, overgrown, kind of bushy area along the river where they were searching for her. So it was a little bit difficult to find her, and that's probably why the husband and others first didn't find her either. But then eventually, during the same night or next dawn, so like within some hours, it was like a multiple hour long search. But eventually, pretty soon, they discovered her body in this overgrown, bushy area, like near the river. Not too far from their home and pretty close to her usual running route. So she was not, she didn't go too far from the usual route. Meadow showed up to say hi to you.
Hi, Meadow.
Showing
and to
her
show
butt
her
as
butt.
well. Yes.
Yes. Hello.
We know it's very cute. Thank you, Meadow. Do you want to come to my lap? Yes, she's coming to my lap. Okay. But when we got to the most depressing part, Meadow shows up to lighten the
Yeah.
mood a little
Thank
bit.
you, Meadow. You're
Thank
the
you.
emotional support
Appreciate
cat. Yes.
So it was the tracking dogs who were able to locate her because it was dark, so they couldn't really see her. It was not like an easily. Okay, she's gone now. Okay, thank you. She went back to her bed behind my screen. And this friend who was talking about his kind of experience about the case was also saying that the medical examiner later told him and the husband that there was a rope tied around Kristina's neck, and it was so kind of tightly tied that it broke her larynx as well. So it was this like strangulation, apparently. But we have a little bit more details about the autopsy findings, some of the physical evidence and other evidence that they found. Do you have any comments before I go there?
No, so you said that the rope, who said that the rope, like the friend said that there was a rope around the neck? Or
So the
what
friend
was that?
said that the medical examiner told them that it was.
Okay,
that there
okay,
was this
okay.
rope.
I was like, okay, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay. Okay.
Okay, so I can tell you about the other findings that they found on the body.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So the medical expert or forensic opinion, basically after they did the autopsy, said that the attacker, whoever it was, removed her lower clothing and they found signs of sexual assault. on her. And they also found that her hands were bound behind her back with this approximately 5 millimeter thick rope. So more like a string,
Yeah, it's almost string
Yeah.
like
like not necessarily a rope.
Yeah. Or like, could it have been shoelaces or like really thin shoelaces or something? Or
I didn't see shoelaces mentioned. I think it was
Okay.
just some sort of a string.
Yeah, because this kind of brings me to the point that if it wasn't from her body or like her clothes, then the person had brought it with them, which is interesting that they had.
With the rope also sounds like
Yeah.
she's not carrying a rope when she's
Exactly.
choking.
So it's kind of like, that's interesting that
Yeah, it was probably from the attacker.
Yeah, assuming that it's a he that brought it with him, so it was premeditated in that regard.
It's a good assumption.
Yeah.
Pretty
Because sexual
safe
assaults
assumption.
too. Yeah.
I
Anyway.
would say statistically, yes.
Yeah. Sexual assault of a woman, I would say, is most likely going to be a man.
Plus, there are other evidence that will unfortunately prove that as well, or maybe
great.
fortunately.
Biological
Yes.
evidence.
So
yes.
they also found that she was strangled with this rope, or I don't know, like what the order of things was exactly, but she was strangled with the rope, probably to prevent her from reporting the attack afterwards. And so the formal cause of that was asphyxiation. So that she was strangled. So the physical evidence was, I don't know if they found the rope or they just assumed, they just kind of, put it together that it was her hands were tied with the rope. So I'm sure, yes, they must have.
And they probably were like, okay, here's the marks on her neck that are in line with this exact cord or whatever.
Yeah. And another piece of physical evidence is that her phone was taken. So her mobile phone was not there. And also her earphones were taken.
Okay.
She was running with, music on. So those were not found. There was biological evidence, luckily, which included several things. There was some blood, saliva, and semen that was discovered.
Thank God that there's stupid criminals out there.
Yes. Yeah, it doesn't always help, but
but I mean, 2013, like that's so recent that even the most unknowledgeable person with true crime would know that, hey, don't leave your DNA somewhere, right?
But then again, like if you're a sexual assaulter who just attacks random women or non-random, I don't know yet, but women when they're jogging, I think that's a different bucket of criminals than the evil masterminds who are like, no evidence will be left. Like these are just animals who would do something like that.
But the thing is, like, the mentality that he killed her to not get caught, that also gives kind of, and he brought the cord, like he's already planning, like in my mind, he's planning stuff ahead of time. So then this is kind of interesting that he didn't, like think that, okay, the sexual assault will lead back to me, like, and then if they didn't leave the cord or, like, I feel like there's kind of this planning but not planning thing.
But I mean, they are not intelligent.
Yeah, I think that was probably one of the reasons. And also, like, we don't know why he had the cord. Maybe it was something that was used for whatever things this guy was doing. Like, I don't know, fishing comes to my mind for no particular reason, but whatever. Like, you might have a cord with you.
Because, like you do something with it.
Yeah.
The cords are actually sold in the stores, not for murdering, but for things to do.
Yeah.
Sailing. But sailing is the only thing I can think of.
But I agree that it's still a bit strange that people don't know it, that you shouldn't leave biological evidence. I guess it can happen accidentally too, that you try to not do it, but then still there are traces that they find. But also I agree that there are just some people who are, not that intelligent. So they act out of impulse probably and then didn't think about it. Yes, but luckily they found this evidence, and interestingly, so some of this biological evidence appeared to be from two different people, and this will be important later. So there were two sources. So the investigators were working under this assumption that there had been 2 attackers.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is what we know for now. How the investigation went, the police initially focused heavily on Kristina's own kind of life. They investigated, I think, around 240 people in her sort of immediate circle or people
Wow.
that she knew. And of course, they were centering a lot on the husband. But that they didn't find a match between this circle. So the sample wasn't from the husband. They were able to rule that out.
Because I was thinking kind of, okay, maybe weird comment, but like if you find your husband's stuff in the wife, it could be just that they made love before she went for jogging. Like,
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That crossed my mind. I was thinking, okay, well, he can have like kind of a logical out, like, we just had sex before she went on her jog or whatever. Sure. Even though their marriage was kind of on the rocks.
But still, doesn't mean that they never.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, but it might be that they also found the husband's like DNA or whatever on her, for whatever reason. Because if they live together, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But these samples were from 2 other men. Not the husband.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So kind of like the nature of this attack, and because they didn't find anyone obviously related to this from her circle or from her friends and family and anything like that, it felt kind of more consistent with this like unplanned opportunistic assault by someone who just like happened to be in the area and saw her. So this was
waiting for was like, today I'm going to assault a woman, I will wait, I know that many women jog here.
It could be kind of insane to think about that there are people like this, but there are many people like that for sure.
But I would want to argue not many, but too many. Still
too many, that's true. So what the police did afterwards, because they didn't find anyone from her kind of circle, they pivoted to searching for men who could sort of plausibly be placed in that location, and they had committed some ad hoc crime of opportunity.
So they start to look into like criminal records.
And try to like see, I guess, like who used to live close, or like, I don't know, like just all sorts of signs that could point for them to be in that area reasonably. But I guess this was like a pretty wide search.
Wonder, isn't there like, I'm not really super familiar with this, but I just have this image that you have a registry of DNA of people who have committed crime somewhere with the police. So you could just run it through. Like,
yes.
Do you need to even filter it out? Isn't it just a data task?
I think you can just run it through and see if there's a match, as far as I understand it. But it sounds like there was no match for a while at least.
Yeah.
But it also takes a while to run DNA tests. So I don't know how quickly they ruled out everyone else. But that
and maybe
DNA
they don't have a
DNA
sample of everyone. Like,
that's true. I don't think they have a DNA sample of everyone. Like, I think it's probably standard practice now to collect it, but then probably in the past,
but if something happened in the 90s or whatever, you're probably not going to collect DNA. And
so they are filtering these people down, so they could then be like, okay, from those 5 people, let's take a DNA sample.
But then also they have to, I guess, get the DNA sample. The reason for getting a DNA sample. Then the person has to agree to give the DNA sample. And
so I don't know if everyone who has a criminal offense now, they collect DNA sample. Or does it depend on the type of crime?
Yeah,
I would assume it depends on the crime.
This is something worth looking up.
Because
of course we're just sexual. Yeah, I would assume if a sexual crime or something more violent, you would definitely collect it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But not like petty crimes.
Yeah.
Well, I could look into this. I don't actually know how they do it, and I'm sure it has changed over time somewhat, like what kind of practices they have. But at this point, we don't know who
Yeah.
these samples belong to. So some snippets of information about like public reaction. So of course, the public was very upset about this once it kind of got into the news. There
And
were
scared. Like,
yeah.
if you
Yeah.
were living around there, I would, don't go out in the dark.
Yeah. So things that were done were like, obviously candles were taken to this place and there were memorials done. There were also several different kind of community memorial runs that were done, like running events to kind of raise awareness about the case in different towns. And then another thing that is, just kind of interesting, there used to be, now very tiny and completely irrelevant, but they used to be a bit more relevant at the time, this like far right political party in Hungary named Jobbik, who kind of means the better one or better, but also means right. So like, that's their name.
Jaha.
So they held a torchlit march in the area because of the case, and they were kind of using this case to call for reinstating the death penalty and also chemical castration for sex offenders.
Wow. I mean, I kind of agree with the chemical castration.
I mean, probably, for a political party, these are things that are easy to agree with, especially when something like this happens.
Yeah.
That's why it's called populism.
Yeah.
You say something that the popular will agree. Oh, let's castrate the sexual assault. Okay, cool.
I was waiting for them to, I was waiting for this political party to say, and it's all because of the immigrants or something, because that's also one of their stances probably, right?
Yeah, but it's mostly, I think in Hungary, it's still more common to blame the Romani minority.
Okay.
But also immigrants, of course. But we don't have that many immigrants. Or nowadays we do for other reasons, but that's, different story.
Yeah. Okay. Well.
Yeah. So, of course, this was like widely discussed in the media, and there was like generally this debate about kind of capital punishment or death penalty, bringing it back because, horrible cases like this always trigger that discussion.
Yeah.
So the case began with the Budapest police headquarters, and then it was later taken over by the National Bureau of Investigation's Priority Case Detection Division. So it went to like a kind of a higher level. So just kind of wanted to talk about the scale of the investigation. So over nearly 5 years after this, so for 5 years, there was nothing that they could find. So over nearly 5 years, without an identified suspect, police interviewed 391 witnesses and examined more than 1,500 DNA samples. That's insane. Okay. 1,500 DNA samples.
I've got to say that normally we hate on the police or their inaction of doing something or like not doing enough, but that sounds like they tried to do enough.
They
take it seriously. Yeah.
They didn't necessarily do all the right things, though, but you'll hear more about that. But they did, they put a lot of effort into the investigation.
Yeah, okay.
So apparently the initial pool that they investigated was enormous, like 330,000 people or something. I think that they initially filtered. That's crazy.
Wow.
And then they cut it down to 1,800 men who could plausibly be connected to the location somehow. DNA samples were taken from this, like, I guess, like even further narrowed group, but there was no match at that stage. At one point, they had a dedicated 14-person, kind of group investigative team who was assigned to this case, and the total cost of the investigation was something around 400 million forints, which would be well over €1 million.
Wow.
$1 million. Because of the many DNA tests, mostly. They're expensive. They also offered a 5 million forint reward to, information leading to the killer. Okay, so in 2017, they finally figured out that you remember the two different men, samples from two different sources. So it finally emerged that one of those two DNA samples, DNA profiles, belonged to a man who had already died before the murder took place.
Okay. Yeah.
And then they figured out that his DNA had been transferred onto Kristina's body through contamination at the morgue.
Oh, fuck.
So her autopsy table had been previously, used, and it wasn't like cleaned well or something.
Oh my God.
After the autopsy of this other man. So that's how.
So someone in the
got
morgue
there.
fucked up.
Well, I guess they took this. Well, both. I mean, the morgue and then sampling, like not cleaning the morgue and then also taking the sample, which they should have. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So once, they figured out that this was the case, then they knew that they were looking for one attacker. So the other sample was a real one, but the second one was just...
Was it though? Because now,
or was it or was it the person working in the morgue?
Yeah, exactly. Who was like, and then there's saliva.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it's totally valid to question this after that.
Yes.
But then finally in September 2018, so 5 years after the initial attack or the murder, the second profile was finally matched through the National DNA Database. And they found that this belonged to a man who was already serving a prison sentence and had been previously involved in similar cases. So I think this guy was in prison then for an unrelated case. His name is Sylvester.
He was he in the prison when this happened?
He was in prison when the match was done.
I thought that we have again a weird case of
no. So they took his DNA sample related to the other case, and then he got into the database, so they were able to match him to this case after that. So his name is Sylvester Rakovec, but typically in the articles you see it like R. Sylvester because they shorten the last name until there's a verdict, but it's public information now. So he was added to this database finally, and they were able to match the sample. He was formally questioned as a suspect on the 6th of September 2018, and then the next day the police publicly announced a breakthrough in the case, and they had a press conference about it. And later during the trial, there's like a lot of expert witnesses who were talking about how this evidence that they had, and it's like from 3 different sources of blood, saliva, semen, all the same DNA. It's like very, very strong evidence. They considered it basically like impossible that it came from anyone else. Yeah. And so these samples or this like biological evidence was found on the victim's body, on her inner thigh, on a tampon, and even on her phone case later. So, there were a few other mistakes in the investigation, and especially one of them is very like facepalm worthy, I guess. So one is this autopsy table contamination, which then made them believe that there are 2 attackers. So that that didn't help. They also then admitted to some negligence during the crime scene handling or examination, or how they handled some surveillance footage or other evidence. So there was something not done properly around that. But then the most interesting piece of information is that it turned out that the phone, the victim's phone that disappeared from the scene, had been sitting in this guy's prison storage, because I think he was in prison before. I don't know when he got there, or was he like in prison for most of this time, and his DNA sample just got got into the database later, can't remember.
Mhm.
But basically, the victim's phone this entire time was sitting in his personal, among his personal property in
Wow.
the prison storage for like years, because from when he was taken in from due to an unrelated,
Yeah.
case, and no one examined this phone too
I mean,
well, I
we're
guess.
just like, okay, it's his whole phone, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess also, like in the States, you'd probably have to have a search warrant to examine the phone, like
Maybe,
to
yeah.
know that it's, yeah. So I
Yeah,
can
like
kind
if
of
they
see
didn't have any
why.
reason, like he
Yeah.
was already going to prison, so you don't really need any proof of anything. It's just
Yeah,
his
I
personal
know.
phone.
I I know that it can happen pretty easily, probably, and really
Yeah.
like maybe, but still, it's kind of insane that her
It's
phone
kind
was
of
there the whole time.
yeah.
Yeah. But at least that's good evidence that why would you have a fucking dead woman's phone,
Well,
you
yeah, that was
motherfucker? Like,
Exactly.
I mean, you can
and then
always say
wait,
that I bought it used from the used phone
yeah.
store.
And I have sperm on the fucking phone cover or something, or what? Was there other DNA? Like, okay, anyway.
And on
Yeah.
her as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh.
Okay, so a little bit about this guy as context. He was 35 years old at the time of the murder in 2013, and then 40 when he was, identified as a suspect. He apparently grew up in the same area near the crime scene. He initially trained as a carpenter, but then he never worked in that trade. He later became unhoused.
Mhm.
So he was apparently supporting himself largely through theft and he broke into places. He had a lot of, he had a pretty strong criminal background also before this. During the trial, one of her relatives, his cousin's daughter, testified that they didn't know him well, but she met him once in 2012 when he took them, like some other family members, to this garage where they kind of figured out that that's probably where he lived, and he wanted to give them some bikes, but they thought that they might be stolen, so they declined the offer. But then they just kind of figured that he probably just lives there in this garage. And his mother also testified. She said that when he was a child, he had regularly, or they had together regularly visited his father in prison. And so he had a good relationship with his siblings for most of the time until he began a life of crime. But that she couldn't imagine him killing anyone, obviously. But she talked about how he had a lot of kind of run-ins with the police and break-in at the grocery store. He spent some time in a youth correctional facility. So, yeah, kind of a troubled background overall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, like, even troubled background kids don't necessarily
Exactly.
murder
This is like
anyone.
a different level.
Yeah. But like,
But
it's a context. It doesn't explain it. Yeah.
But did he have any sexual assaults like in the past? Like, is this
I've seen in some sources that he had similar crimes before.
Yeah, because you said
So-
that he had similar stuff, but I'm just like wondering. Okay, so he'd sexually assaulted women, and then he finally was like, "Oh well, I don't want to get caught for this, so then I'll just murder her." Like, I guess, or
Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
It could be because apparently at the time of the murder, he was already wanted for another case because he failed to begin serving a prison sentence for repeated theft. So that was a different one.
Okay.
And then about 30 days after the murder, he was arrested in Siófok, which is a town on the Lake Balaton, or kind of by the lake, for a property crime. And apparently, I also found somewhere that they found a similar rope on him at the time when he was arrested, which was that was the type of rope or the same one that was used to murder Krisztina.
Yeah.
But they didn't connect those details for a long time. But so at the time of his eventual identification as the killer, he had already been subject to 6 separate ongoing criminal proceedings around that time. So just like a lot going on with this guy.
Yeah.
So after he completed his prior unrelated prison sentence, which was pretty soon after they discovered that he is the attacker in this case, the police took him into criminal custody on the 5th of December 2018. And they basically then he began like a pre-trial detention after that until his trial started. So the investigation closed formally on the 14th of June 2019. And these were the charges that they filed against him in July 2019. So 3 things: homicide committed for a vile motive. And so this is like an aggravated form of murder under Hungarian law, which is carrying a harsher sentence than just a regular, ordinary homicide. So vile motive could be like sexual assault or sexual motive, for example.
Yeah.
Second charge was sexual violence, and then plunder or looting of a helpless person.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Makes
someone who
sense.
can't defend themselves, and then you take their stuff.
Yeah. All of those seem pretty easy to prove, especially with him having hit the phone and all this stuff, and rape.
Yeah.
And... Okay.
So he was formally questioned, and he refused to give a statement originally. And then later he said something like, but I think it was like an informal statement, but he said that, well, actually, what happened is that he was like in that area cycling, and he saw a man assaulting a woman, and that he intervened and punched the man. That's why he injured his own hand in the process, which was like an explanation for why his DNA was at the scene.
Yeah. And then
Semen
she
too,
had
right?
sex with you because she was thankful that you saved her? Or like what the fuck was that? Like,
I think, but this is just an assumption, I think maybe he didn't know where the biological evidence came from. Maybe he thought it was just blood at the time.
Yeah,
or
blood
something.
and saliva or something, yeah.
I
I was just thinking, what if this was the guy, since he was biking in the park? Like, if the husband actually
I was
saw
thinking
this
that
guy.
too.
It was
Yeah.
like, did he
I
have a
don't know.
beard?
Yeah, it did say that there was a bearded man cycling, and he said that he was cycling there. So I was thinking too that might have been the same guy.
Yeah, that would be crazy if that was.
And like if you are unhoused, you often don't maybe groom your facial hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you think about the timeline, she typically runs for 45 minutes. We don't know when she was attacked, but the husband started being kind of suspicious about why she's not at home after 1.5 hours. Maybe they waited a bit and then he left to look for her.
Yeah.
But it could be that he was still in the area.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, I wonder what the husband, like, I would love to know if he, like, he sees the guy, if you put some facial hair on him, and then oh my God, that's the guy that I asked if he had seen my wife. And okay.
Yeah, but even here during the trial and everything, he still has facial hair. So
okay.
Pretty much the same probably. So then, according to his story, then he left after punching this attacker. He left without knowing what became of the woman. And
thanks for the help.
Yeah, that's it.
If this was a real situation that you see a man assaulting a woman and then you just punch the man, you're not helping the woman, you're punching the man because of your manhood issues.
Yeah.
Like, call ambulance, help the woman. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's
such a stupid story.
It's a stupid story. He had more stupid stories, but then basically he was like generally maintaining his innocence through his lawyer to the press during this time. And he said that basically he would never admit to killing Krisztina, and that he genuinely wanted to know who did this, because he did spend time in that area near the crime scene, because he was like from that area. But
I mean, he punched the man. He should know who did this.
Exactly. Yeah.
He can tell us how.
Yeah.
The real
it was dark. He didn't see the guy. But he would never hurt anyone. He had prior
except the man that he punched.
Yeah, but that was to defend this performance. But his prior convictions were for burglary and theft, and he would never hurt anyone. So I'm now questioning my own notes here that it did come up that he had similar crimes, but maybe it was like some violent crimes, but not sexual assault necessarily.
Yeah.
Because otherwise that would have been pretty easy to show that, you've done this before, dude. So
Yeah, and then I guess his DNA would have been in also the system if he had sexual assaults previously. If he
But so what was the crime that his DNA ended up into the register then?
Yeah.
I couldn't find that out. I don't know. Somehow there was suddenly a match. Maybe, maybe it was just, and I could look into this, maybe they just changed something in the processes during that time that they started collecting DNA from people in prison.
Yeah. Or maybe it was now you're doing this many thefts, now we will take your DNA sample.
Because I think at that time he was already in prison.
Yeah, it could be that if you get a sentence that's like a prison sentence, that's enough for a DNA sample.
Yeah, and then also this kind of... But then, I don't know, I just go back to the point that if he had never sexually assaulted anybody before, then it kind of, like, there's two things. Like, either, okay, he was very unexperienced with it, so then that's why he did leave a bunch of biological evidence, because he didn't plan on doing it or whatever.
So
or
it was just an
impulse thing.
And maybe because if he was living still in a carriage or something, he just had these random items like a rope and stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be that he's just like, oh, I really feel like, attacking someone. I'll take this random rope from my carriage with me. And he didn't really plan more.
Yeah, but then also the thing is, like, if he'd never killed anybody before, that's a very big escalation for the first the first offense.
True.
Well, at least not that we know of.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking either, like, I feel like he had done this before, but he had not been caught or something, because I feel like, why would you murder somebody if you just, just going from zero to murder seems a bit odd to me.
It might also be if you assault someone you kind of accidentally murder. That murder was not the objective, but... But
strangulation takes like 5 minutes or something, unless her windpipe was actually broken or something, and she couldn't breathe, and then okay, whatever. But usually strangulation takes many minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, like, because it was mentioned that she was kind of strong, so maybe she actually fought against. Yeah. So then this guy got this peak of adrenaline and like started to strangle her, like, stop fighting against me. Like, that his original objective was not to murder anyone, but because,
But I feel like you can't really accidentally strangle somebody and murder them. It's kind of intentional.
Yeah, intentional at that point, but like not the original plan.
Yeah.
There were discussion about that, because she was like a reportedly kind of a feisty, confident woman, that maybe she tried to fight back, and that could have been the reason. Although then there was some like discussion about this during the trial, that there were not a lot of defensive wounds on her, but there were some. So maybe she was he hit her or something, and she fainted or something like that at some point, like pretty early on. So that's why there were no defensive wounds. But I wonder if, like, because it was not like an easy situation, he then just kind of got like very amped up and then ended up strangling her, but that was not necessarily the original plan.
Yeah. Okay.
In the meantime, I looked into this, like whether he had done sexual assault before or not. So apparently what I found, because I looked at a bunch of news articles and police announcement and stuff like that, and in the news articles they always say that he had he had done burglary, theft, that kind of stuff, but then there's a mention in this breakthrough announcement from the police where they say something like he had been party to a similar crime, but that's not necessarily.
He didn't do it. He could have been just in the group and someone assaulted and he was there at the scene or something.
But maybe he got inspired.
Or maybe they just like very broadly said that he's been part of crimes, but not necessarily sexual assault. So it's not confirmed. They didn't say that he he had done sexual assault before in any
Okay.
confirmed way.
How about
Okay.
just like assaults in general? Like, kind of, did he have any violence
I think
tendency?
probably if he robbed people,
So rob.
you know,
Yeah. Not
it's
just
unclear.
burglary.
Unclear.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he had been, you know, he had done a lot of different crimes before. Okay, so a few more things, but we're close to the end, but some more details about the trial. So the defense's arguments. That's always interesting what the defense tries to come up with. So the lawyer, this guy's lawyer, said that he had indeed been at the scene, right? He did say that. And then he changes the story a little bit. He says that he only came upon Kristina's body after she was already dead.
Uh-huh.
So this is the second story. Interestingly, this came out in a final kind of written statement from him only in the autumn of 2021. And it seemed like it was deliberately timed to come out after all the evidence had already been presented. So they knew what all the evidence was against him. And then he made this statement, which was different from the one that he had before. So he claimed that he was cycling through the area on the night of the September 25th and saw a naked body lying in the grass, and he approached it, searching for jewelry. He moved the body and kind of turned it over and cut the rope from her wrist, injuring himself in the process, which is what he offered as an explanation now for the blood at the scene.
And then he suddenly just burst some semen there.
Or he's a necrophiliac and he's like, I was overcome and I just needed to, like, what the fuck?
No, he didn't say that. What he said is that finding no jewelry, he took the phone instead. And so he basically admitted only to the looting or plunder.
Yeah.
And denied that he had anything to do with her death.
Yeah.
And then the defense also kind of proposed an alternative scenario, of course. They argued that there was no, the proof for sexual violence was not that strong in their opinion. It could have been that the internal injuries were obviously, what do you think they say? They came from a consensual sexual activity from a couple of days earlier. I think that's probably hard to identify. And so they also floated this theory that she may have been killed by a lover. And then she used to go for these runs as a pretext to meet this lover.
Who was this guy?
No, it was another guy, someone else.
What was it?
We don't know.
Name? Not Christopher.
Sylvester.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he met this lover and they got into an argument. And so he killed her. And this guy just went there, found the body and looked for jewelry. But that's all he had to do.
So why was his semen there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought first that the theory is that actually this guy was her lover.
Maybe he just doesn't wash
and they
his
were
hands.
just meeting there.
Oh yeah, he just doesn't wash his hands. Could be that. That's
yeah. Of course.
Good idea.
Or he had it on his pants. I don't fuck. Okay. I just don't want to. I want to stop thinking about this guy's semen. To be honest. Okay.
Anyway, with the defenses, this idea is bad. We don't.
It's pretty bad. They said
that so nobody believed it.
Well, so what they try to do is to basically for the court to only find him guilty of theft or plunder, and acquit him of both murder and sexual violence. And so basically they said that there's no proof of the murder, and so the sexual violence is they just kind of question the evidence or try to kind of build this story. And then their secondary kind of plan was to kind of request just for the acquittal of sexual violence alone, keep the murder, but without the sexual violence, that would kind of undercut the vile motive element of the murder charge. So he would get a lower prison sentence. That was kind of their plan. Yeah, so the prosecution challenged the defendant's last-minute account, asking him, for example, like how could he have found a hidden trail leading 23 meters off the bike path to the body in complete darkness? So how could he have noticed that there's a body and like checked to find any jewelry when it was like not in a visible place?
Yeah.
Because both the husband and like the searching party during the night, they were, going around that area, and it was difficult to find her because she was off the road.
And they are actually looking for something in the bushes.
Yeah.
Like you assume that this guy cycling is not looking in the bushes, like, oh, I wonder if there are any bodies.
23 meters into the bush. Yeah. So there were forensic geneticists who testified that, just extensively about the DNA evidence. And they explained that, it's like the chances are that this would belong to someone else are in the range of 1 in several million or 1 in several billion, basically in that range. So it's pretty much, it's for sure from this guy. And so they also talked about how probably he knocked her down first, and that's why there were not that many defensive wounds, because that was another thing that was questioned. Okay, so finally, the verdict and then another one. So on October 15, 2021, the Budapest Capital Regional Court found Szilveszter Rakovec guilty on all 3 accounts, so homicide committed for a vile motive, sexual violence, and plunder. And he was sentenced to life imprisonment as a repeat offender with the earliest possible parole eligibility set at 35 years. Both the defendant and his lawyer and the prosecution appealed the decision.
The prosecution.
Which then, I will tell you why. It sent the case to the higher court, or like the court of appeal. So so why they appealed. So basically the defendant wanted to get acquittal or a lighter sentence, obviously. And the prosecution wanted an actual no parole life sentence. So they wanted a stricter sentence.
Okay.
Okay, so on the 22nd of June, 2022, the Court of Appeal delivered the final verdict. It upheld the conviction of life sentence, but increased the earliest possible parole date from 35 years to 40 years, which is basically the maximum. The judge said that the defendant's final account kind of raised more questions than how many it actually answered.
Yeah. Like your defense reasons are so weird that let's keep you in the prison a bit longer for safety.
Yeah. So the judge was saying that, for instance, there was no explanation ever given for why he would have turned over and searched an already unclothed body for jewelry. And they never gave an explanation for the presence of his semen. And they also said that it's very sus that they waited until all the evidence was revealed until he actually gave a formal statement.
Def sus.
They also said that basically what the defense's alternative theory is stupid.
What? And they said it's stupid?
No, they didn't say it's stupid. They say that... wait, I'm just looking for my notes.
Implausible.
Yeah, well, but they didn't say it's stupid. But basically,
they used a cooler word for it.
Yeah, because Anyway, yes. So that they didn't find that very plausible in general, and they did find that there were some defense wounds, and that she wounded the attacker on the scene, so that's why his blood was found there. They also said that as an aggravating factor, that this case caused so much public disturbance and panic and fear that kind of didn't help the case. So it and also basically that for 5 years they didn't find who the attacker was. So that made it worse in the court's eyes. This was the final verdict. And then Kristina's mother told the reporters afterwards that she was satisfied with the verdict and found it reassuring. And then there were some snippets about how Szilveszter was like kind of an asshole during the trial. He showed no remorse. He was like smiling during the hearing, and then he laughed in the face of Kristina's mother and like kind of did stuff like that. So he was super weird and showed no remorse.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Now he's in prison
now.
and he's staying
Forever,
there.
most likely.
That's
Yeah,
good.
I don't see him getting the parole even in 40 years.
I mean, in 40 years. And then
He can
he
try.
would be 80 something by then.
80
So.
something, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like
Yeah.
the prisons in Hungary aren't really that nice, you know, compared to like Norway and Finland.
No, not
and
Norway
so
level.
yeah, so he probably won't even last until he's 80, I assume, in the prison system.
Yeah, and
But
I mean, there were some other articles which I didn't include here talking about how he got into fights with other prisoners, because I think there are, you know, like other people in prison who like specifically can't stand people who assault women or something like that. They have this interesting moral code. So
Yeah, because like, you know, if you're a criminal who's more like, I don't know, I sell drugs and fight with the other gang members or whatever, you still might have that like, you don't hurt women type of
women
moral
are
code.
children.
yeah. Yeah. So that's the case. Really sad. I'm glad that it was solved eventually.
Yeah.
'Cause for a long time it wasn't.
Because
And
this
we
was
had
really
other-
tragic, especially with the context you gave in the beginning, like the parents being like, the dark joking is not a
Yeah.
good idea. And
Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's not her fault. Like it should be a
yeah, but
totally
I mean,
normal
like
thing.
just that these were kind of absurd fears and then they come true. It's so tragic. It's a bit like I don't know, you're like, I hope that I'm not going, that this car I'm in is not going to go in an accident and then you have an accident. Like when you think about the bad thing that could happen and then it happens, it's always really
But it's always like
scary
this
and
hindsight
tragic.
is 2020 that, you know, at the time it feels ridiculous. And then many times actually when someone says, don't go for a run in the dark, and then nothing happens to most people. But then when something happens to someone, then looking back, it's like, we told her not to do it. But then,
of course.
Yeah.
And I bet that this case was used for other women, you know, like that you see what happened here in this jogging place. Don't go.
Yeah, just
so
sad
I think
'cause-
they put up some lights to the bike path now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not
that's
that
also a way
helps much. I don't know. Like I feel like men are going to rape when they want to fucking rape because they have no, like, they are.
But then again, like, of course, if it makes it, like, if it makes the how to say, if it makes it even a bit more difficult to commit the crime, it's a good thing. Like if women get more safe space in the public area, if it's for lights or whatever, it's always a good thing. Like it won't prevent crime for good, but it will decrease the opportunities to commit it.
Yeah,
hopefully. But yeah, it just sucks that women aren't able to just run or be where they want to be, like still, of course. And it won't change until there's probably no men in the world. But, you know, I think that's the only scenario where there's would be no dangers if there's no men.
Or drastically fewer.
Drastically.
Yeah. It's always insane when you see an article like this, or, you know, any case where a woman was assaulted or murdered or something like that, and then you see all the victim blaming comments that why did she go there? Why did she go out for a run that late?
Well, she should have every fucking right to go there. Like
it's more like, why did the man go there? That's the question.
Going back to the point of like, you know, where we feel safe, I just kept thinking I would never go for a run like alone at night if I was in the States, you know, like that's way more like, because I remember when I would visit my parents back in Enumclaw, Washington, and like I did want to go for a run, but my dad, he was like, I'm not going to let you go alone, so he'd bike by me, you know. Because like who the fuck knows, there could be somebody lurking there. Like I didn't feel safe. Like I felt very on alert. If I would have gone alone, I wouldn't have felt comfortable. But yeah.
When I was like in middle school, so from 13 to 15, and the route that I would go to school often would go through this, like, it's in a suburb of Helsinki. So there's like, it sounds just like this area. Like there's a river and lots of green around it. So I would go kind of on the other side of the river where my school was. And one part of this, like you could choose this very well-lighted route, but there was this other route where this part of kind of, not a forest, just like a bush, but a road through it. And there was absolutely no light, like pitch dark. And you know what Finland is in the winter. So the morning is completely dark and also the afternoon. And I just went there. And my biggest fear was that when it was winter, that I would like sleep over because there's ice and because you can see the ice well. I never thought anything else. That was my only fear. I'm just like, okay, it's a pitch dark forest here in the suburbs. I walk through it because it's the best route. I think I sometimes went to pick my friend and then we went to school together and that was the route to her house. And
yeah. But sometimes even in Finland, then there are these cases when you think that you can just walk home safely and then you can't.
Yeah, of course. Like it's not that we have zero cases of this kind of crime, but it's just like I've never had to thought of it.
Yeah, I remember every time I was walking home from the bus stop, like it was maybe like a 5 to 10 minute walk. It wasn't like an insane distance, but it felt pretty long to me. So as like a teenager, I was walking home when it was already dark. I was always like very scared, but like mainly, you know, because there was like fields and stuff like that. So mainly if there would be like an animal or like a stray dog or something like that. But I remember multiple times when I was walking there, even during the day, there were like men in these construction sites who were yelling after me, disgusting things and stuff like that. And that was like much more common in Hungary, just men yelling at you, even if you were a teenager on the street.
That's so fucking gross.
And then it stopped happening in Finland. And I was like, oh, it's so weird and nice. Like men are less weird. I mean, they're weird always, but you know, not as openly weird, at least.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I couldn't imagine like also where I was at, like growing up, it was very rural and not super like city like. So I didn't really have that experience with like any construction people or whatever, so like never catcalled or anything like that.
And this was pretty rural too, but I remember some cases when they were working on something there, or like some old guy came up to me in the bus stop when I was like 14, 15.
Oh god.
Yeah, so it happens.
Fucking nasty. Just men. Fucking no.
Yeah,
I feel that maybe in Finland, okay, this is a weird comment, but one thing that's it's not maybe of course nowadays there's some quality of men, like in the sense that one is the moral code, what are you supposed to do, but also like you're not supposed to talk to strangers. So catcalling, like if you are kind of a normal person, I feel that in some countries catcalling is still more like if you are this type of person, but in Finland, so what stops you is also the fact that you would be talking to a stranger.
Yeah.
Like,
that's true.
But I guess it's the drunks usually who would, like if you're a drunk, you lose the social conventions.
Yeah, that happens, but still, I can like distinctly remember this, that it was like a noticeable difference when I moved here.
Yeah.
Okay, but thanks for listening to this case.
Thanks for sharing the story.
So next time we will have a news tangent episode, but then Laura.
Yeah, me. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do, but we'll have something.
You will feel free to submit some requests if you have.
Actually. Yeah, send us some requests at translationmurderpodcast@gmail.com or in our inbox with Translation Murder Podcast, also in Instagram or wherever you want to send us a message. So, thanks for listening, people, and sticking with the hour and 20-minute episode. So, all right. Hei paralla.
Bye.
Bye.